Good evening, everybody. I'm Fictional Crystals, and the Season 6 trailer has dropped. Voltron Legendary Defender Season 6 will be coming out June 15th, just 5 days after the 2-year anniversary of Season 1's premiere. This season is another half season, so it's technically just the other part of Season 5, making it 7 episodes long. Anyway, let's break down the Season 6 trailer and some of the stills we got. First, the two synopses for the season. As the lines between darkness and light continue to blur, shocking revelations and power struggles send Voltron hurtling toward another epic showdown. And the other one says, suspicious of Lotor's alliance with Voltron, Galra oppressors continue to invade and conquer vulnerable planets throughout the universe. A hyper-focused Team Voltron feels the need to liberate the helpless planets, and begins a massive campaign to save millions of lives. But after the Paladins uncover some troubling information, they must engage in their most epic battle yet. Power Struggles is talking about the Galra that are with and against Lotor, and the shocking revelations / troubling information is probably due to Kuron, the clone of Shiro who Haggar is using to spy on the team. We can expand on this more with the trailer. Firstly, Allura and Lotor are looking up at something. They are in the castle's hangar. One of Lotor's Sincline ships is beside them. Due to where they are in the castle and the fact they're looking up, they're likely looking up at another ship, a Sincline ship if I have to be exact. In one of the stills we got for this season, we see Lotor and Allura in a Sincline ship. You can tell it's a Sincline ship due to the color scheme and the control boards. If you look at the background outside of the Sincline ship, you can tell they're still in the castle. It's got those light gray tones, curves, and blue lights. I'm thinking this might be the new Sincline ship, the one that Lotor was about to make right before the Narty incident happened.
60% of the Comet's material has been used in the production of the first 2 ships, my lord. We will have more than enough for the creation of the third.
We've seen the inside of the other Sincline ship in the hangar. Lotor and Zethrid co-piloted it in Season 4. Their seats were in different parts of the ship, not one right behind the other. They had to video to contact each other. And the Sincline ship Aksha and Ezra used was the same. They were in different pods. In this other shot from the trailer, we see all the Paladins, Keith, and Kuron. However, there is no Lotor or Allura. Yet, that Sincline ship is still there. During this scene with Keith, I think Lotor and Allura will be trying to get into the rift, which we see them doing in parts of the trailer. Another thing we see in the trailer is a black line shooting at and crashing into a Sincline ship. This is the new Sincline ship. Its shape is unlike the previous two. This Sincline ship shape looks like it fits the shape of the inside of this Sincline ship. This is the one Lotor and Allura try to go into the rift with. You can see its shape if you zoom in into this part of the trailer where they're going into the rift. Moving on, Lotor's making a speech to the Galra. He's got some rovers broadcasting him to the rest of the Empire. He's in Zarkon's old throne room. Lotor is going to be up against Sendak a lot this season. Lotor wants to lead the Galra with new ways, Sendak wants to lead the Galra with old ways. Many factions of the Empire are sided with Lotor and Voltron, but many aren't. The ones that aren't are more inclined to Sendak's way of thinking, which leads to the conquering of vulnerable planets, something Lotor and the Paladins are very against. The Galra rely on quintessence. To get quintessence, they typically have to suck the life from planets, destroying them in the process, both through the Comar and quintessence mining. Since Lotor started leading, quintessence in the Empire might have gone down, due to him not wanting to destroy planets. Sendak and his followers are rising up to get more. We can see Sendak and his Galra invading and destroying planets in the trailer, though it actually appears that Sendak is on a Galra-occupied planet in these parts of the trailer. The designs of the buildings are like that of Noxella's, which was originally used by the Altans, but the Galra ended up occupying it, and made their own structures on it. Sendak is addressing the people of this planet like they are Galra following Lotor.
Galra citizens who side with Lotor will be destroyed.
He's trying to get the Galra over to his side through violence. Voltron is trying to fight back. There's this weird structure that is floating above what appears to be a dead planet or a moon. I'll say it's a planet for now. Sendak is in the ship near it, and the lions are there too. Voltron is getting shot at. There's some visible blue quintessence on it, probably what Sendak was trying to get, unless those lights are in fact faraway structures, which Sendak is about to destroy. The planet kind of reminds me of Dibazal, except it doesn't have the yellow quintessence marks on it. And if Galra occupy this one too, it makes sense. The Black Line is going to a planet surrounded by Galra ships. The planet sort of looks like Voltron's Earth, and the cast and crew of Voltron have been hinting that Earth will be an upcoming theme on Voltron. We know Sam Holt is telling the Galaxy Garrison what's going on. Earth will absolutely be more of a theme in the future, making it a possibility for some 80s vehicle Voltron references. The Garrison and Page's brother were both parts of that in the 80s, though this planet isn't a precise match for Earth, so I won't get my hopes up on that one specifically likely being Earth just yet. The Galra ships aren't attacking the Lion. It's either because A, they haven't spotted the Lion yet, which is unlikely, B, these are Lotor ships, so the Galra following Lotor know Voltron is on their side, or C, Haggar / the Galra have taken full control over Kuron and are getting him to deliver the Black Lion to the Galra.
I return the Black Lion to the Galra.
Sendak is one of Haggar's puppets after all. He's only there thanks to her. The Paladins and Voltron get talking with some Galra on Lotor's side. It's just them working out some details. Hunk says Rapidza. Keith and Krolia have their solo mission. It might be another Blade mission to do with bad Galra, or at least they were heading somewhere but got caught up in this. Keith's finding out stuff about Clone Shiro too, but I'll get back to that later on. It's hard to tell what exactly this flash of light is. Could be a planet's quintessence being taken, or these are plain quintessence explosions, since quintessence is such a big theme on the show, especially with everything that's been going on recently. Or it's another gateway to an alternate reality, a planet being destroyed to the satisfaction of some, Noxella 2.0, a black hole, or a sun that's flaring up. The reason I suggest this is because this scene is a still on the Den of Geek website. I saved the still from the website, and for me the title of the JPEG said sun. I don't know if this is accurate. That's just what the JPEG title said on my computer. The sun is more likely just that big bright orb behind it. They're in different places when this explosion happens versus this explosion at the end of the trailer, and they're not tied together in this part of the trailer, but they are at the end. The first flash of light in the trailer in front of them is rather small, but the second almost blows Keith away. The big flash of light in this bit of the trailer is caused by the thing behind this one. They're on the other side of this big glowy sun thingy. The beam of light going through it is still there, we're just seeing the back of it. The two of them are climbing rocks. They're not using a ship. Their ship either got destroyed or lost, or they're trying to lay lows / couldn't take a ship. You know, the super weapon they left still needs to be dealt with. Keith along with Krolia do make it back to Team Voltron. Pidge and Krolia are being shot at. Krolia's not lying on the floor dead there, guys, don't worry. She and Pidge are both just covering themselves from the shots. The purple lasers suggest that Galra shooting at them. The most likely options for who's shooting at them are Sendak / his followers, or Lotor's ex-generals. There is a Sincline ship in the hangar where the shooting's coming from. If enemies get their hands on that, it's not going to be good. Keith returns to the team and brushes off Lance. This whole bit of him returning seems and looks very edited together. This shot of him is framed like, whoa, it's Keith, he's back. His expression is very neutral and he just stands there. The ship behind him has 2 seats. However, in these other shots of him, the ship behind him only has 1 seat. There's also a slight lighting difference between these 2 shots. And in these 2 shots, Keith is in a hurry, he's moving forward and has an angry expression. Like I said, in the shot when the ship behind him has 2 seats, he's just standing there and doesn't look angry. If he's angry and in such a hurry, why would he just stand there and look neutral? Unless these 2 scenes are from different times. This one's from Keith's probably first return with Krolia, and in this one he's returning another time without Krolia. Either something happened to her, she's with the Blade of Marmora, or she's somewhere in the castle already. She would not have left him willingly.
I left you once. I'll never leave you again.
I won't rule out the possibility of her dying, though I will say it'd be awful for Keith's mentality. His arc is about connection, family. He needs to learn to get close to people without leaving them first in fear they'll reject him. This problem of his stemmed from Krolia leaving him ages ago.
I'm naturally untrusting because my mom left me, and so instead of accepting people into my life, I push them away before they reject me.
His dad and Shiro left after that, making things worse for him. She's going to be helping him reach some inner peace. If she dies this season right after she was introduced, that'll only make his fear of not getting close to people because they'll leave him first mentality even worse. Although, I can imagine the writers making us think Krolia is dead, or having her get captured or injured, or Keith is the one getting injured. But then she miraculously comes to him later and says something like, I told you I'd never leave you again. Again though, I won't rule out her dying. There definitely will be some character deaths this season, such as Sendak at the hands of Team Voltron and Lotor. You know this season is going to be angsty. Keith's voice actor said he cried during a recording. High chance that scene that made him cry involves Krolia or Shiro, or Keith discussing everything he's gone through. Her not being there might be adding to his anger. But you can see he's looking directly at Kuron. Lance has a line, how do I know you're the real Keith? Implying that at the time he says this line, they've figured out this Shiro isn't the real Shiro, adding even more to Keith's annoyance. He's lost Shiro so many times, and each time he's lost him, he's searched for him for days on end. Perhaps that's why Keith left again, to find the real Shiro, and possibly Krolia. After Keith brushes off Lance, he says, hey everybody, Keith's back. But as people have pointed out, his words don't sync with his lips.
Hey everybody, Keith's back!
Hey everybody, Keith's back!
He probably doesn't actually say, "Hey everybody, Keith's back" during this. It's edited in from Keith's first reunion. If it's not, it's merely a continuity error with the ship and a lip sync error. Even when he says, "How do we know you're the real Keith?" sounds a tad off. Though that one may be because of jump cut editing. "How do we know you're the real Lance? I thought you recognized his mullet anywhere." Lance's hand gestures and body language don't exactly match up with his tone of voice. Looks more like he's telling Keith to calm down.
Calm down.
Even if Keith doesn't know Kuron's a clone in the scene, at least something bad has happened, and Kuron's responsible as leader. Keith's under a lot of stress during the scene where he's looking at Kuron. Keith acts a certain way when something's wrong with Shiro. He gets angrier, more impatient. Pidge also acts more irrationally when there's something concerning her family. Keith has returned to the team in the scene, but not as a paladin just yet. It is likely he'll become a paladin again this season, except the Kuron situation is going to worsen before then. He's still learning to connect with people, not to push them away. Maybe he pushed Krolia away because of the Kuron situation. He needs to get better at connecting with people, not getting afraid of getting close. These people are his found family, and Krolia is going to help him realize that. Keith will need to return as a paladin now that he knows, and everyone else knows, that Kuron is a clone. Lately, Lance has felt isolated, like he's unimportant. Kuron's ignored him. Pidge and Hunk have been hanging out with each other. So have Lotor and Allura. He's been spending more time on his own, away from the others. According to Jeremy Shader, Lance's voice actor, Keith leaving left a void in Lance. You can also see that by the expression he made when Keith left. Lance understands why Keith left. Lance is irritated. They bonded in season 3 and then Keith left. Just like how Lance said he forgot the bonding moment, much to Keith's annoyance in season 1. But he gets why Keith's acting the way he is. What Lance says is jokey.
How do we know you're the real Keith?
However, Lance knows when he should change his attitude. He can go from whiny to serious within a short period of time if the situation calls for it.
Keith would be the worst leader of Voltron. I respect his choice.
He'll figure out who Keith's anger is directed at and what he's in the mood for. He does want to help. Kuron told Lance that he wasn't feeling like himself. Real Shiro tried contacting him in the astral plane. Lance is gathering up clues. Keith deserves to know about it. Jeremy also said Lance is happy when Keith returns. Another reason to believe this scene isn't Keith's first return. Doesn't look very happy. Lance does feel bad that he's being brushed off, though I also strongly feel like it will be resolved. I have to mention another thing about the ship he was in. Where did he get it from? When he first left to join the Blade of Marmora, did he take an Altan ship to go there? So he's able to take the same ship to return? Or did the small Altan ship get flown out to him? Or did he get back in a different way in his first return to the castle ship? As I said earlier, Lotor and Allura are gone during the scene. They're trying to enter the rift. It's what they've been preparing for.
We've done everything we can to prepare us for this moment.
The reason they need to do this so quickly is due to quintessence. Sendak is showing his strength to the Galra. He's making himself appear more capable to them than Lotor. He destroys planets. He takes quintessence. He doubts Lotor will get the Galra Empire any, after what happened years ago to the planet he was looking over, and his 2 home planets, Dibazal and Altair, being destroyed. He doesn't want more planets and cultures to be destroyed by the Galra. Him and Allura need to work fast to get unlimited quintessence from the rift. That way, the Galra no longer need to suck life from things. Him getting unlimited quintessence for the Galra will prove to them that he is worthy of leading.
An age of unlimited quintessence.
In this still, you can see Lotor's distress over knowing Sendak's destroying more planets. Sendak says he knows their weakness while on Kuron's screen. Some people have been saying that this is Lance and the Black Lion. I'm a massive supporter of Black Paladin Lance. I'd love it if it is. It'd be amazing and very fitting if one day he can pilot the Black Lion. However, the person in the picture here is probably Shiro/Kuron. The Black Lion's lighting does make those in it look darker. When the Paladins change lions, they don't change their Paladin armor. If that were Lance, he'd still be wearing his blue Paladin armor, not the black colored armor. There are 3 main things that are the Paladins' weaknesses. The first is the Earth. If the Galra reach the Earth, the Paladins are coming. The second weakness is each other, and by extent it could be anyone in danger. They'd all willingly risk themselves to save each other. Several have already. Lance in this very trailer pushes Allura out of the way and takes a hit. The third thing that's a weakness is Kuron. Sendak was with Haggar in season 5. He may or may not still be in contact with her. What if he knows that this isn't the real Shiro? What if he knows that Haggar can control him? It's only a matter of time before she reaches a stage in the operation where she can. Then Kuron can be used against the team. And if Sendak knows, or at least makes it seem like he knows where the real Shiro is, then that'd really be a weakness for the Paladins, because they will be desperate to find him. Sendak is looking directly at Kuron when he says he knows their weakness. The episode Crystal Venom with Sendak and Shiro had big foreshadowing.
We're connected, both part of the Galra Empire. Embrace it. The others don't know what you know.
Sendak can get into Kuron's head, bring back his memories of the cloning process, make him remember what happened, like he was briefly doing in the episode The Journey. Sendak can make him feel like he's not real. He's just one of the Galra Empire's weapons, one made by Haggar.
You could have been our greatest weapon.
Sendak can try to break him down and make him switch sides. And that's even without Haggar's extra control. Kuron said he doesn't feel like himself to Lance. Yet Kuron doesn't know he's a clone. He doesn't know why he's been having headaches, why he's been acting weird. It'll really hurt him to find out. And it'll hurt the other paladins. He's been leading them for the past few seasons. Sure, he's not the real Shiro, but he's still been a member of their team. They can't get rid of him just like that, unless he leaves them first. There'll be extreme turmoil and tension between the team, debates on how to handle him. Lotor, on the other hand, hates all of Haggar's puppets. He wants to get rid of anyone that serves her, anyone that's spying on him, even one of his friends, Narti. This scene from The Journey in Season 3 is massive foreshadowing. Haggar sends a Galra to spy on Lotor. This Galra's right arm is robotic. Lotor turns to Haggar with the Galra's right robot arm and throws it in front of her. He tells her this.
Stop sending your cronies after me.
Shiro/Kuron's right arm is robotic. Through him, Haggar is spying on Lotor. Lotor will not want Kuron there after finding out what Haggar's doing. I can imagine a similar scene to what happened in 80s Voltron going down here. I can also imagine a similar Lotor and Haggar confrontation as in 80s Voltron, where they fight and she reveals something very important to him. In this version of the show, she reveals to him that he is half Altean, which he didn't know before this, even though there were definitely hints for him. In Legendary Defender, she'll reveal to him that she is his mother, Onerva. In my opinion, he's already figured out that she is Onerva. He's simply in denial about it. He realizes the pieces for them being the same person fit together, he's just trying to block it out, which is why he was so snappy at Allura when she suggested it. Lauren and Joachim, the show's co-executive producers, also said this about it. Lotor wants to carry on Onerva's work.
The experiments of my mother Onerva.
He sees Onerva and Allura, just like in the original version of Voltron, except rather than it being their looks that make them alike, it's their powers, their connection to Altea, their drives, their quintessence. What Lotor refuses to realize is that he's following in the footsteps of Haggar and Zarkon. Lotor is not going to betray Team Voltron just cause. What he told them about his motives does come from a genuine place. They're a good ally to him, they make him stronger, he won't lose that.
Each ally gained only makes us stronger.
Unless they continue to stand against him.
While those who continue to stand against us will be crushed.
He'll push further than they're comfortable with to reach his goal. Victory or death for him. His own aggression will be his undoing.
Is your undoing.
Just like it was for Haggar and Zarkon. They kept pushing to reach their goal despite all the bad consequences. They made it into the rift, yet at what cost? Now Lotor, the current Galra Emperor, is going into the rift with an Altean alchemist, and they had blatantly romantically coded scenes in Season 5. They're definitely paralleling Onerva and Zarkon. In time, Lotor will see that he's making his parents bad mistakes. Haggar/Onerva will play a part in him realizing this. Lotor and Keith have a fair amount of parallels. The swords, half-Galra heritage, parental problems. Krolia is going to stop Keith from making the same mistakes as her. Onerva will eventually stop Lotor from doing the same. Lotor and Allura's journey into the rift didn't go as smoothly as hoped, unless this is the planet Sendak's above, or a similar looking planet. This planet looks like Dibazal, and there are explosions everywhere. The rift creatures are going to come into play sooner or later. I strongly believe they're going to be the big bad of the series. I think it's too early for a final battle with them just yet, but I can imagine Lotor and Allura getting a glimpse of them here. The creatures trying to corrupt them. Just something to remind us they're still around. Lotor will want to carry on despite the complications. Allura won't. He's risking their lives to reach his goal. There's potential for a smaller fight with the dark creatures. Not the massive end of series fight, but still a fight. Let's look at the stills. These are both from when the Paladins go to visit Galra Command. Hunk is the main one doing the talking here, so we get a little bit more of diplomatic Hunk. Lotor and the Galra are acting like he's in charge. VOD News on Tumblr pointed out the production numbers for each of the stills. Link in the description. We don't know if these are 100% accurate until we actually see the episodes, though they do seem to line up pretty well. These 5 pictures are from the same episode. Lotor looks so creepy in this. It's the episode Lotor's giving his speech to the Galra Empire. By this point, Sendak's already started his work on hurting planets. Keith and Krolia's mission is in episode 2. I haven't talked about episode 3 yet, it's the Dungeons and Dragons episode. This is the episode I'm most excited for out of the entire season. It doesn't seem like a serious episode, just one like Space Mall in season 2. Unless it turns out to be a really significant episode disguised as a happy fun one. Considering that some people have already seen the season and have said these things about it, that might be possible. I know basically nothing about Dungeons & Dragons, other than like it's a game that has Dungeons and Dragons. I'll try my best to identify them anyway. Allura's an archer. Or is ranger the correct term? This is my favorite Allura outfit yet. It's super pretty on her. Before season 5, there was a new Netflix video that featured a clip of her. Princess Romel from 80s Voltron, along with other 80s Voltron characters, may end up appearing in the future. Perhaps Romel with Shiro, but this is Allura. Allura's in a dungeon and a dragon is in front of her. The dragon is above one of the other characters. Shiro/Kuron is a knight/paladin. They're all paladins. The armor he's wearing is reminiscent of King Alfor's, and he has a sword as a weapon, same as Alfor. His white hair floof is gone, instead there is a crown. Allura's hairline has changed too, and so has Pidge's nose. I'm not certain about what Hunk and Pidge are. Again, I know practically nothing about D&D. Hunk has a staff and Pidge has an axe. If I were to make any kind of guesses, I'd say Pidge is some sort of barbarian, and Hunk a mage/wizard? We all know what Lance is though. A furry. No one's surprised about that. I hope at some point they ride a cult and necro dragon. This episode is likely set in a game. Lance, the gaming expert, of course thinks he knows what to do. Pidge should have some idea about D&D too. Lance is on his cheeky expression, the one he does when he's satisfied with himself, and when being cheeky or flirting. All the others are annoyed at what he just said. There's got to be an objective of the game, something for them to be able to finish. Maybe the objective is to rescue a damsel in distress. That explains Lance's flirty expression, or it's to slay a dragon or get something, in which case Lance is making some smart comment. He's holding a piece of cloth like a handkerchief or a bag. It could be a reward for him doing something, or the thing he's holding has a scent of whoever or whatever they're trying to find. Lance is playing a wolf character. His sense of smell should have improved. He's tracking the scent, which is why he's crouched down, or he just picked the thing up from the ground. We don't know if Matt, Lotor, Krang, Keith, and other characters are going to be in this episode as villains, helpers, dragons, or damsels in distress. Oh, AJ. Other characters can work into a D&D episode. If this isn't real life for them, that's why some of their looks were able to change. Maybe this whole thing is just their imaginations. Dungeons & Dragons is classically a board game. If they were playing a board game, they'd imagine it with themselves in their heads. Or it's some video game simulation. The castle is able to simulate stuff. This dungeon, this dragon, Shiro's sword, and Allura's looks are reminiscent of Lance's video game. I feel like it being an alternate reality is a bit too serious for this episode, although Sven and Sav were in another alternate reality episode and they were pretty funny. These shots are episode 4, when someone infiltrates the hangar and Krolia and Pidge are fighting back, and when Lotor and Allura head off. Imagine if they mistake Krolia and Keith for intruders to start with. They've never seen Krolia before. It'll be interesting to see how they react to her. Haggar is using her powers here. This is nearing the end of the season, with Kuron on the verge of going rogue. Haggar is either using her powers to fight someone, or she's controlling him here. It becomes increasingly obvious that he isn't the real Shiro. The episode after this has Voltron and what I assume is Dibazal. It's continuing on with the storyline of the rift in Dibazal. The episode after this, we just have a still of Allura and the Blue Lion. This is the first half of the end of season fight. In the stills after this, we see the paladins angrier than we've ever seen them before. We see 4 of the paladins, Lance in red, Pidge in green, Hunk in yellow, and Allura in blue, except no still of the Black Paladin. And yet, Voltron is formed. They don't show the Black Paladin in these stills because Keith is the Black Paladin in these stills. By this point, Kuron is an enemy. Keith has somewhat stabilized himself and is a paladin again. He should be getting the Galra mark we saw him have in this Netflix thumbnail, unless of course this was an edit. If it is real, it's either a scar meant to mirror Krolia's marks, or he inherited the mark from Krolia. It's always been on him, it just needs something to trigger it to become visible, same as Lotor's Altan marks. That may be quintessence, or it may just be because he's aging. Galra do age slower and live longer than humans. There's been a lot of time skips on the show. It has been months since Keith was last on the team, and Keith is usually slightly shorter than Lance. Yet in this trailer, they're the same height, except that might just be a small size inconsistency error. With Keith back, Voltron forms a sword. Jeremy Shada, Lance's voice actor, recently said Lance gets to use the sword, and he had a little slip up about Lance saying form sword. Since Lance has unlocked a sword form of his Bayard, I see why he'd be able to form a sword with Voltron. Although since Keith is there, it could be either of them. Either way, way, one of them's going to form the sword and the other one is going to make it blaze. That's another reason why it's Keith and the Lion, not Kuron. When Kuron used his beard in Season 5, he was the only one that wasn't transported into the astral plane. This was the real Shiro they saw there, not Kuron. Kuron had issues getting the Black Lion to work for him. It's unlikely he'd be able to make the sword blaze. Voltron takes some damage from one of its battles. Its wings are sparking. The Paladins look so angry. There are a few things that would make them this mad. Them seeing a planet and its people about to be destroyed. It's happened to Allura's planet and her species before. She never wants it to happen to any other planet. And I'm sure the Paladins don't want it to happen either. Their anger and determination will lead Lance or Keith to making the sword blaze. You know the battle is intense when the sword is blazing. Or they're angry because of a betrayal. Lotor or Kuron. Kuron's secret is getting revealed this season. Haggar will gain control of him. She is his puppet master. You bet she's going to use Kuron against the rest of the team. And if she's still in alliance with Sendak, she has his forces to use against Team Voltron along with Clone Shiro and the generals. Again, that scene in Crystal Venom. Remember, at the end of Season 5, Haggar was on her way to Oriond. If she manages to get to the White Hole soon without any complications from Lotor, there's a high chance she's a chosen Altean. Both Alpha and Allura were able to enter Oriond, father and daughter. Haggar's son could enter Oriond, so she should be able to as well. She certainly has what's needed to enter. A deep connection with Altean alchemy. Her powers are like that of Allura's. Lotor, even though he's only half Altean, probably does have some Altean abilities that he hasn't realized yet. It was Haggar who worked on the rift originally. She desires to know what's going on in there, but she knows of the consequences now. With Lotor's rift work, there's no doubt Haggar will be involved. The amount of things Haggar can do to the rift and ships and everything basically, if she gets what she wants from Oriond. As I said earlier, Lotor betraying the Paladins just cause wouldn't happen. If he's the one fighting the Paladins here, it's because something happened. He's pushed their limits too far with the rift. He's hurt Allura and or the team in the process. Maybe his distrust to Kuron riled him up even more.
This ends now.
He doesn't know who to trust anymore. The three Sincline ships together would be a hard force for Voltron to fight. One alone was bad enough. They're both made of the same kinds of comets. Voltron is infused with Altean alchemy, and so will the Sincline ships be soon. They'll have similar abilities. Imagine if Haggar is able to get her hands on one of them through the generals. And she has Altean alchemy. Oh boy. The generals, particularly Aksha, aren't entirely unloyal to Lotor. If something were to happen to Haggar, they might end up wanting to go back to him. Like I said earlier, there is shooting coming from the hangar where a Sincline ship is. Either way, whether it's Haggar or Lotor with the Sincline ships, the generals can be pilots. They can be Dark Voltron, which is something that has appeared in several older versions of Voltron. The Black Lion and the Sincline ship that goes into the rift are fighting here. Chances are that's Lotor and the Sincline ship, just considering that it was the one to go into the rift. And he went into the rift with it. Unless Haggar's squad somehow stole it very quickly. But we don't know if that is Keith or Shiro and the Black Lion. If it's Keith, that means Lotor did something bad. The thing that pushed the team too far. However, if it's Kuron, it's more likely that he's gone rogue from the team at this point. He's under Haggar and Sendak's influence and takes the Black Lion. Haggar was very distressed when she found out Lotor had a transreality comet in Season 4. Through Kuron, she knows what he's doing, and is attempting to get him to stop, also through Kuron. I saved this image from Den of Geek 2. The JPEG is titled Wormhole. And yeah, it does look like a wormhole, apart from it not having the typical Altean circle patterns around it. Could be because the wormhole's closing, or because it's a completely different type of hole, not a classic castle ship wormhole. Whatever happens at the end of the season is going to be a game changer. Maybe the Paladins go to sleep for a really long time like Kimberly Brooks, Allura's voice actress, said. But no matter what it is, it's going to shift the dynamic of the show. In the same way Season 2's ending shifted the dynamic of the show. The tone of Season 3 and the seasons onwards to me felt darker than the first two seasons. You could feel the shift in the show's tone as soon as Season 3's trailer was released. Season 3's trailer was awesome, by the way. Seasons 1 and 2 were more of an introduction to the series, the first 26 episodes. Episode 1 of the series counts as 3 episodes because it's extra long. These first 2 seasons introduce the Paladins, Quintessence, the Blade of Marmora, all things that would be paid off later. Since it was just an introduction, it felt more relaxed. Season 3 changed the show. A new Galra started leading the Empire, Lotor instead of Zarkon. The Paladins changed lines. They had to handle Shiro's disappearance and getting replaced with a clone. Small things like Quintessence and the Blade of Marmora from Seasons 1 and 2 became huge things within Seasons 3, 4, and 5. Seasons 3, 4, 5, plus 6 are focused on getting used to change and discovery. The payoff of the line switches and Kuron that started in Season 3 are happening in Season 6. They figure out Kuron's a clone, Keith goes back to Black Black. Seasons 3 to 6 are 26 episodes put together. The episodes after this, being season 7 onwards, is the next big shift on the show. I think that season is going to have more to do with the astral plane Shiro Lance saw, as opposed to this season. Sure, we might get hints of the real Shiro in this season, perhaps even a glimpse in the astral plane, but it's the next shift in the show that the real Shiro will become a big focus again. The beginning of the first 26 episodes in season 1 was about rescuing Shiro. The beginning of the next 26 episodes, the start of season 3, was also looking for Shiro. Wanna bet they're going to be looking for Shiro at the start of the next set of episodes, season 7? Season 2 left us on a massive cliffhanger.
Summon Prince Lotor.
It ended with a big battle, shocking revelation, and name drop of a new character. It left us desiring more. That set of episodes ended with the blazing sword, and so will the set. Maybe this season will have new Altam powers and Voltron upgrades too. The way season 6 is being hyped up by the cast and crew, it's going to leave us even more broken than the end of season 2. My personal favourite seasons are season 3 and season 5. Seasons 3 and 5 left me so satisfied afterwards. But I am super excited to see what's in store for the 7 episodes of season 6. Anyway though, thanks for watching and stay hyped for season 6.
Prep it, sir!